All right, welcome back to the Big Four podcast. It was an interesting week of college football. We got another interesting week coming up, and we're going to start with Michigan State going on the road and losing quite bad. Washington was it 39-26 or something? I don't even know. Score doesn't matter. The fact that MSU was killed, basically. So reactions from this game.
Well, Penix once again destroyed Michigan State as he normally does. Almost just under 400 yards, 4 TDs. The bigger issue I thought for Michigan State was the hole they put themselves in the first place. I mean, they were down 29-8 at halftime. I mean, that's just even. I mean, they won the second half 20-10, but it's just 29-8 is an insurmountable lead. And that was the bigger concern I have for Michigan State. And then their defense in the first half especially did not look great. Peyton Thorne had an okay day. I mean, pretty good day actually, I guess, right? 340 yards, 3 TDs, but I feel like when I caught the end of the game, and that seemed like a lot of it was garbage time, and it didn't really matter. But yeah, tough loss for Michigan State. But I don't think it'll be a bad loss. I think it'll end up being an okay loss. But it with their tough schedule, it's when they probably would have liked to have.
Yeah, tough game, tough matchup. Washington's a good team on the road at night, tough environment.
12-0 team.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Michigan State's weakness on defense is obviously their secondary. It's a tough matchup in that respect because Washington can throw it with Michael Penix, who always seems to beat the brakes on Michigan State. Mike thinks he's like Joe Montana, even though Michigan State the only team he ever destroys.
He's better than Joe Montana.
Mel Tucker, the cornerbacks coach, never has good cornerbacks. I wonder about that. So I've been saying for a while that I thought Mel Tucker was a good coach and a bad recruiter.
And I've been telling you it's the opposite.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to say it's both. He's a bad coach. As we see, he can't coach his corners. He relies on his assistants. And he can't recruit. He certainly can't recruit. His recruiting class right now has been a disaster. Despite Mike saying they would be in the top 5, they're not remotely
the best recruiting class we've ever had. But
what are you talking? They are not remote.
Don't look at average recruiting. If you look at average, this is the best class.
Now we're looking at average. Before,
I've been looking at average the whole time.
No, you haven't.
And I look at the blue chip ratio. I also look at the blue chip ratio percentage.
Yeah, of course, yeah. After Mike declared that they would have a top 5 class, they're 22nd. But anyways, as for this season, Michigan State.
No, they're 4th.
They're not 4th.
In the Big Ten. I said top 5 in the Big Ten.
Well, they might not even be that.
Northwestern's really
they're coming
up on
up
our heels.
But listen, I mean, it's a bad matchup for Michigan State. In the end, I still think Michigan State will be fine. There's some of these other games that Mike thinks they're going to lose, like Minnesota, Maryland, Wisconsin.
They're going to be underdogs in the next 5 games.
Minnesota, Maryland, Wisconsin. He thinks they can lose those games, but those are good matchups for Michigan State.
Oh, they are.
Maryland, maybe not. Maryland sucks, so they'll beat Maryland. But Wisconsin and Minnesota.
They'll have a good matchup against Maryland because Maryland will be coming off the high of beating Michigan.
Oh yeah, that's right. But anyways, yeah, I think Michigan State. Obviously Ohio State and Michigan will be tough games, but they have some decent matchups. I think they'll be fine. But yeah, Washington's a good team.
I mean, that's a classic letdown spot at home with Michigan State coming off a road win in the Big House. At night, I mean, that's just lined up for a letdown from Toledo and Maryland.
Thunder and Lightning in this game, 17 carries for 30 yards. I didn't hear much about them after this performance.
Our program's at a different spot than Michigan is.
Yeah,
So,
like way behind.
yeah, it's more Michigan's running backs are probably worse than Michigan State's running backs with just offensive line play is not even close. But yeah, not an ideal situation. I said after Washington went right down the field on their opening drive, scored a touchdown. I said the game was over.
Yeah, you said the game was over in a
could
lot
just-
of games before.
You
Yeah,
could
you
just
also said the game was over before the game even started.
well, yeah, I picked Washington to win.
You probably saw the type of bleach they threw in to clean the uniforms and thought the game was over.
Yeah, I mean, those little things make a difference. When you take the aggregation of the little things, and it becomes a big thing. But yeah, not a good loss. I think Washington's going to be 12-0 this year. And it's not because I think they're a 12-0 team, but look at their schedule. This is one of the worst schedules I've ever seen, and not their fault. I mean, they got Arizona State, UCLA, and Colorado. Literally, the four. Well, I mean, UCLA's okay, but the other three are horrible. And then from the north, obviously, you got to go to Oregon, to Washington State. So Washington, and then the thing that impressed me the most about Washington was how good their defensive line was. First of all, their defensive line. This is an experienced Michigan State offensive line, decently experienced, especially on the inside of the line. This is the same line that gashed Michigan for 250 yards rushing last year. But I thought the defensive tackles from Washington were just dominating the football game. And, I mean, the talent's there. They recruit. Were they number 23 in the team talent composite, way higher than Michigan State. So I knew coming into the game that Washington had the talent advantage. And they showed it, especially there and on the offensive line. That offensive line is extremely impressive. I don't know what happened last year. I don't know why they were so bad last year. Probably because their coach was awful, but their offensive line is night and day better. And Penix, I thought if we played good defense, he would still throw for 300 yards. He's that type of quarterback right now. He's accurate with the football.
Why is he not that type of quarterback against any other team?
He's always that quarterback when he's healthy. He's just never healthy. When he was healthy, he dominated MSU, he dominated Michigan, and he dominated Ohio State. Remember that game?
He dominated Michigan when they were like 2-5.
Doesn't matter. Michigan was still in the top 15 when they played him. Probably.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Yeah, I was impressed with that. Penix was very good. Washington's wide receiving core, I'm impressed with as well. The fact that Giles Jackson is like the 8th receiver on their team.
Yeah, he's not good.
Jalen Polk and Rome on Dunze, really good players. They got some talent on the outside. Washington's going to be able to move the ball on anybody. And their defense was sort of impressive besides their secondary. But, offensively, we couldn't run the ball. Like I said, I thought Washington's run defense was really good. Pass defense wasn't great. I thought Thorne played very well. I think the struggles early in the year might be over. He had to be Superman, and he played decently well. I mean, last drive of the game, if you somehow, instead of turning over on downs, you score a touchdown, it's 39-36 or 39-34. Get an onside kick, you never know. So I was impressed in that aspect also. They didn't lay down and die. But I also thought Washington took their foot off the gas in the second half and let Michigan State back into the game a little bit. But yeah, 29 rushes for 42 yards isn't gonna impress anybody. So yeah, a lot of things to improve. People calling for coordinators' jobs. I mean, it's one game. I'll wait. I'll see if things improve. Obviously, not ideal coming out of the off season, but it's unacceptable. There's no doubt about it. But I'm gonna wait. See, once Minnesota puts 250 yards rushing up on us this week, then maybe I'll change my mind. But overall, I was expecting a loss. I wasn't expecting this type of loss, but it kind of reminded me of the Purdue game last year. Everything just went wrong, and it was a loud environment. I know some people that went to the game said it was the loudest college football game they've ever been to. I mean, that they just designed their stadium well with that roof over the grandstand, and it just reflects noise back into the stadium. And I'm surprised more teams
It's like the
don't
big
do it.
house.
The big house is the complete opposite.
Yeah, you mean the toilet bowl? That's the roof on the big house. It's actually the toilet seat.
I'm gonna be bringing my homework to the game because I can do it in the great library. But yeah, on to the next one. Just got to keep chopping. All right, the schedule doesn't get any easier. They're going to be underdogs in their next
It
5
actually
games.
does because you play Maryland next week. So
We're going to be underdogs against Maryland. We're going to
you're
be
not going
underdogs.
to be underdogs against
We
Maryland.
are underdogs this week. We're going to be underdogs against Ohio State, and we'll probably be underdogs against Wisconsin. And then we'll definitely be underdog. We'll be 14-point underdogs on the road at Michigan, and then we might be underdogs at Illinois. So maybe it's the next
All
6
right.
games. Yeah, that's all I have to say. All right. Michigan over UConn, Ohio State over Toledo. Any reactions from these two games?
I think Michigan's doing what they need to do against this week's schedule they play. We really this week against Maryland's probably the first. I mean, it's still not going to be a great test, but it's going to be the first week where we kind of see what they do in a game that actually matters and where the competition level is somewhat equal. And Ohio State looked really good. The defense looked better, much improved. Still some room to grow and get better. And CJ Stroud looked good. Hopefully the wide receiver room and Henderson will get healthy this week for Wisconsin. And just got to take care of business.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State got gashed here by Toledo. It was a concerning performance by them for sure. They're not that good. As for Michigan, UConn is they're a tough team. They can battle. Their quarterback threw for 17 yards in this game. That's not great. But, they put up a little bit of a fight. They, got a couple first downs in the first half. As for Michigan, a lot of pressure here on JJ McCarthy next couple of weeks because there's no backup plan because Cade McNamara is out for the next couple of weeks with an injury. So
that was Harbaugh took him out with a freaking baseball bat during practice, or he probably put a bounty on his head so he didn't have to go back to him.
Probably won't be an issue this week because Maryland doesn't do anything well. But
they can sling it. This could be a shootout.
They could sling it last year in the.
They do really well at turning the ball
over. Yeah. The next week, though, I know Iowa sucks, but their defense is good. I'd like to see how McCarthy plays in that game. But yeah, I mean,
I tell you right now, that's going to be a 27-0 final, and Jim Harbaugh's going to run the ball 80 times and wear Iowa down. It's going to be next week is going to be Jim Harbaugh's wet dream of a matchup because he's going to do it. He's just going to run the ball 80 times in Iowa because he knows Iowa can't score.
But yeah, it was a statement win. The Connecticut is that's probably the best team we've played so far. So that's a really good win.
Which tells you something.
And 5 touchdowns for Blake Corum. Luke, here's a trivia question. When's the last time Michigan running back ran for 5 touchdowns?
Michigan shouldn't even be ranked. They've played a worse schedule than literally everybody in the country. They should not be ranked.
Well,
they
if
shouldn't
you
have been in the playoff. You can't play 8 or more home games and be eligible for the playoff. Ohio State, nothing much to say there. Solid win. Have to get those, have to get the offense going. They've gotten the offense going. That was, don't want to say a question mark. It was just a matter of if, not when. Or it's a matter of when, not if. And it's playing well. They're obviously the caliber of team they're going to be playing next week's going to be a little better, but yeah. And then once again, like I said, like I've been saying, I think their pass defense is going to be a little bit worse, but their run defense is going to be a little bit improved, much improved actually.
Well,
that'll be put to the test this
the
week.
thing with our pass defense is our cornerbacks are 1,000 times better than the two idiots we had out there last year.
Yep. Okay. As for Michigan, I don't take anything out of their game. They basically played 3 preseason games, like we've been saying, and nothing much. Great defensive performance, but I think it's as a Michigan fan, I'd be pissed by this schedule. I'd want to go and play a tough non-conference game, and see how my team is. Kind of like MSU and what Ohio State tried to do. Looks like Notre Dame's not any good, but you play a tough game and see how your team is before conference play. But whatever. I mean, Michigan can do whatever they want to do, and they can still ease themselves into the Big Ten play because they've got 2 easy games. At Iowa's an easy game.
No, it's not.
And really, they've got 3. They've got 3 games on their schedule basically this year. They've got 3 games that are, I wouldn't even say overly losable. Maybe 2. I would say 1.5 games on their schedule are losable. The Ohio State game. I don't think Penn State is gonna give them too much fight. They never do. In Ann Arbor.
Oh, we always beat them to a pulp and at the Big House.
Yeah, so that's why I say they're kind of half. They might be a half of an opponent, but I mean, and the other game is MSU, but that's only because MSU beats Michigan every year. But Michigan's way better. So yeah, nothing much has changed for me about this. All right, gotta talk about Penn State. That was a solid win. Going down. I can't even remember the last time a Big Ten team played an SEC team in the non-conference, but and Auburn's not great,
didn't Wisconsin play LSU a couple years ago?
That's right, they did. Yeah, it was at Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
Yes, but reactions.
I think Penn State's looked really good this year. I think everyone's a little too high on. I think everyone's kind of swung 100% the other way to where they think they're like a top 5, top 10 team in the country. Everyone has to remember Sean Clifford's still their quarterback. They won 41-12, and he was 14 for 19 for 178 yards. And he's just not a good quarterback. So as long as you're getting his quarterback play, you're never going to be a great team. But I mean, they're probably a top 15 team in the country. They have to go at to Michigan. They have Ohio State, and then they have a rivalry game with Michigan State, and they have Minnesota on their schedule this year. So I don't think they're going to. I mean, 8-4, 9-3. Is that a good year for Penn State? Probably. Probably top 15, top 20.
8-4. You think they're going to lose 4 more games?
I agree. I think they will.
I think they have 4 games where they'll probably be underdogs. I think they'll be underdogs at Michigan. They'll be underdogs against Minnesota. They'll be underdogs against Ohio State, and they'll probably be favored against Michigan State.
They'll
But
be
that's a rivalry game.
Minnesota in the whiteout.
Yes,
I agree. They should be.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I'm still skeptical about Penn State. Maybe they should be ranked in the top 25. Maybe not.
No, they should be ranked. Chris, they're the top 20 team in the country.
They went into a place that nobody wins, and they won.
No,
I don't care.
They went in and played one of the worst teams
is.
in the Power 5. That's what happened. They went and played one of the worst teams in the Power 5, and they won.
They still got a good defense, and they put up 41 points on them.
Yeah, sure, they have a fun. No, Auburn. Okay, no, Auburn sucks. They do not have a good defense.
I agree, they're bad, but that
you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you how I know Auburn doesn't have a good
Stadium.
defense? Let me tell you how I know Auburn doesn't have a good defense. They allowed Penn State to run all over them. Penn State.
Yeah, but they held Sean Clifford to 178 yards passing.
This Auburn team is not much different than it was last year. Besides, quarterback's way worse.
They're worse. They're way worse.
No, not defensively.
Penn State couldn't
Same
run
Auburn
the ball.
team that held Alabama to 17 points.
Penn State couldn't run the ball for a yard against Purdue, and they ran all over Auburn. All over them. Auburn is
You know what they
bad.
say? the biggest improvement is from week 1 to week 2. Penn State got better.
Auburn is a bad football team.
I agree, but when you go into that stadium,
No,
weird
not now. It's worn off. That's a sorry program at this point. This is fine. They took care of business. I'll give them credit, but I'm not impressed with Penn State. Just because they went in and beat some terrible team.
So are you saying Michigan's wins are better?
No, I'm not, but I know Michigan's good.
I know Penn State's good too.
I don't, because they were
Here's
awful.
why I know they're good.
They were terrible last year.
No, they were not terrible last
They
year.
were terrible.
They went 7-6, and they were
terrible.
Power ratings wise, they were 8 or 9 wins.
I go by record. They were terrible, and they're
Their
terrible
quarterback,
this year.
their quarterback got hurt in the Iowa game.
That's a good thing. Their quarterback.
They were
sucks.
running away.
Sean
They
Clifford
were
sucks.
running away with that game.
Luke is right about that. Sean Clifford sucks. He's awful.
They were up 17-0 against Iowa last
As
year.
long as Sean Clifford's a QB, they won't be a top 10 team in the country.
Exactly. He's terrible.
Do you know who went in the game for Penn State last year?
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a good quarterback.
Roberson. He transferred to UConn. He's not even starting at UConn.
Well, that's concerning, considering the quarterback for UConn was 4 for 16 with 17 yards this week.
Well, they didn't want to hurt his confidence, Chris, so they put the backup in.
Yeah. Well, they were talking about it. They're like, oh, he has an experience playing in big games because he did it in high school on ESPN. And then he threw for 17 yards.
Listen, don't question Jim Mora. He knows what he's talking about. There's a reason why he was coaching at UCLA a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yes. Here are my thoughts on Penn State. I thought they'd be 1-2 right now, and they're not 1-2. They're 3-0. That's impressive. I don't care how they won.
That's
won.
an indictment on Purdue and Auburn.
Sure, you could say that. That's fine. It's still impressive. They're doing what Michigan State did last year. They're finding ways to win. Even if they weren't supposed to beat Purdue, they beat them. And then they just ran all over Auburn. But listen, the score was not entirely indicative of the game. It was a little bit Auburn let it get away. But Penn State wore them down, and Penn State's defense I think is really good. Their defense was good last year. It's similar this year. They got 2 NFL corners, including Joey Porter Jr. I remember his dad when he was the coach of the Steelers getting arrested for knocking somebody out at a bar. But his son's good at football. So that's good. Penn State's got a good defense. They got a good run defense, good pass defense, really good pass defense. Probably the best pass defense in the Big Ten. And that's really going to help them. And that's the reason why they've always kept it close with Ohio State. Why they kept it close last year against Ohio State was because their pass defense was really good. Obviously, Sean Clifford isn't going to win you many games. And the reason why I'm not going to pick them to beat any of the good teams on their schedule, the 2 good teams on their schedule, the rest of the way. But they're a 10-2 team. And besides those 2 games, it's smooth sailing the rest of the way. Minnesota might be a test, but they'll be favored by 8 or 9 points in that game. So, yeah, we're gonna see how they play later on. I mean, obviously they got the Michigan game circle at this point. They got 2 easy games before that, so it's really setting up to be an undefeated, probably top 10 matchup in Ann Arbor. But Michigan will beat them by 40. But still a big deal. All right. The rest of the Big Ten. The Big Ten scoreboard. Hold on.
I mean, I Wisconsin, not much to say. Took care of business. Minnesota, good win. Took care of business. Northwestern is an embarrassment to the Big Ten at the moment. They lost to Southern Illinois at home. Nebraska got run off the field at home and looked awful. I think Oklahoma looks really good, but Nebraska put up a fight for 2 drives.
Luke, do you recall from last week? Do you remember who picked Nebraska on this podcast?
Yes, Mike picked Nebraska. They looked good on the first 2 drives.
I don't know if you've seen the standings, but I've only lost 6 games from last week.
Yeah, that was pretty bad considering you were tied last week.
Yeah,
it took Iowa about 8 hours to beat Nevada, but they won. So Not much to say. A good win for Maryland over a good SMU team. I mean, good for a group of 5 team. Indiana, good win for Indiana. Purdue, I think Purdue can be a lot better than. I think they've got a little unlucky. They lost a 1-possession game to Penn State, a 1-possession game to Syracuse. Now, I think they can make a run and end up winning seven games probably, and that'll be a decent season for them. And other than that, Indiana it is concerning. They had to make a massive comeback just to beat Western Kentucky in overtime. So, and good win for Rutgers, 3-0.
Yeah, Luke covered most of it, but the Purdue, I mean, Jeff Brom needs to be fired. He's maybe the worst clock manager in college football. It's a disgrace how he manages the clock with
Well, he just refuses to change. How many losses is he going to take for the same reasons of just always wanting to throw the ball?
Ridiculous.
And then just never change it.
He makes James Franklin look like Bear Bryant.
Rutgers, that was a statement win. That's right, 16-14.
That was the worst win of the weekend. That was so bad.
And then Iowa.
I don't think you realize how bad Temple is.
Well, that's a big win. That was
Mike. I don't think you realize it doesn't matter when you're 3-0.
And that's a really tough place to play.
It's a rivalry game.
Iowa, 27 points for Iowa. How about that?
Their defense scored 14 of them.
Did you see who the Nevada quarterback is?
Yes, I did see that. But how about this? Spencer Petras is 31.2 QBR in this game. It might be a career high. And his QBR is up to 7 on the season. So he's trending he's trending in the right direction. So good win for Iowa.
An NFL quarterback right there.
That's right. He's like O'Korn. He's the most NFL ready.
So I'll just talk about this broadly, I guess. I guess I got to talk about this game. I mean, that's just so bad. Northwestern is who we thought they were. That first game was obviously a mirage. Nebraska's horrible. And
you're finally off of it.
I've been off Nebraska. I've just seen it. I've seen too many times where the interim coach comes in and the players rally around him for 1 or 2 games and they get an upset.
I'm assuming you'd be taking Arizona State this week.
No, because Arizona State has no talent. I thought Nebraska had talent. I guess they don't really.
Did you see the contract they just gave Mickey Joseph? No matter who they hire, they're going to keep him on as the associate head coach. I'm sure the next head coach coming in is going to appreciate that they can't fire him.
Yeah, that's good. I just want to talk about this broadly. The Big Ten, I think, is so feast or famine, and there's a couple mediocre teams. The good teams: Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Minnesota. I might put Wisconsin in there. I think that loss to Wazoo was a little fluky, but they could still get back into this thing. And then all the other teams are pretty bad. MSU's not good. Maryland's mediocre. Rutgers is bad. Indiana's bad. Indiana's the worst 3-0 team in college football. Illinois is better than I expected, but they're still not great. By the way, Illinois already played their game this week. They played last night, and they won against I don't even remember who they played, but it was some FCS team. Chattanooga, 31-0. Interesting scheduling decision there, but Illinois that loss to Indiana was just killer. If they won that game, all of a sudden Illinois is 4-0, and maybe they could make some noise. But that was just a killer loss. They had to win that. I don't trust Iowa. So I think it's going to come down to Minnesota, Wisconsin, and in the West, and then the winner of the Michigan-Ohio State game. I think that'd be great if we had 2 winner-take-all games on the last week of the year. That would be interesting. I think it's happened before a few times. Maybe not a few times, but it's happened at least once the past 5 years. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. All right, let's there was one, maybe two decently big games last week. We could touch on both of them if you want. Oregon over BYU, and then Texas A&M defeats Miami. So reactions from these games.
That was a big win for Jimbo to kind of move off the hot seat a little bit, even though they can't fire him because his buyout's so big. And tough loss, a good win for Oregon, tough loss for BYU. I mean, Mike was talking about their chances to make the playoffs with their schedule, and I think that's pretty much gone at this point. Bo Picks getting another win. I think the Pac-12 is better than what we thought they were going into the year. So I think they're going to be an interesting conference to watch. But like most years, I think they're going to beat up on each other, and it's kind of going to screw them at the end of the day.
Yeah, the BYU game had upset written all over it after a hard-fought win the week before. Can't really blame BYU for losing on the road to Oregon. Oregon's a good team. People kind of got off of them, but they played Georgia in week 1, so cut them a little bit of slack. As for the other game, I've been saying
You're the one who doesn't like Georgia, so.
Well, I think Georgia's a top 3 team in the country.
I can't believe you have Michigan over
That's
them.
a hot take.
Do not have Michigan over them.
You have somebody over them.
Alabama.
And Ohio State.
Yeah, and Ohio State.
That's ridiculous.
As I've been saying for a while, Miami is a complete and utter fraud. I am so tired of hearing about Tyler Van Dyke. This guy sucks.
Wasn't his fault.
I'm not saying it was his fault, but
Miami had 12 drops.
He's bad. He's really bad. He's a bad quarterback.
Add 12 completions to Tyler Van Dyke's line, and all of a sudden it's 33 for 41, and that's an unbelievable day.
Well, he was bad. He was 21 for 41.
Not bad. They have 12 drops.
Throw more catchable balls.
Yeah, give me a break.
He's bad.
Miami is a joke.
Both these teams are borderline unwatchable. Miami's not a top 25 team. A&M's borderline.
Miami's going to win the Coastal.
No, they have a 0% chance. This is a bad football team. Cristobal needs a few years to get his recruits in there to choke. And listen, Josh Gaddis is running this offense, so they're well run. And Tyler Van Dyke still sucks. So, pretty embarrassing loss for Miami. They're not good.
Shows you maybe Michigan's quarterback problems were more on Gaddis than they were on Harbaugh.
Oh, well, if you're going to say Gaddis was bad, that really means Cade McNamara was the truth last year.
Well, he couldn't get the most out of McCarthy. So that's why
he didn't get anything out of McCarthy because he didn't play.
That's why he was let go by Michigan. No, I completely disagree with you. I saw this tweet the other day from a Miami fan, and he said it was funny that Miami hired who's their last coach? They hired Manny Diaz to fix their defense, and their defense got worse, and their offense was really good last year. And they hired Josh Gaddis to get their offense good, and all of a sudden their defense is good and their offense sucks. So,
oh please, no, it's because of their quarterback. Their quarterback.
Yeah, give me a break. Van Dyke threw for like 40 touchdowns last year. It's not the quarterback.
He's bad. He's bad. He's really bad.
No, he's not.
He sucks. He has no control of the offense.
Yeah, give me a break. He had no help. They
don't want to catch for him. They don't trust him.
He was willing Miami.
He's not good. I'll take Max Johnson.
Yeah, that is.
I'll take Haynes King.
All right. A&M, that was the game they had to have. They had it. They got it. Miami was the better team statistically.
No, they were not.
They outgained them by 130 yards. Yes, they were.
It doesn't matter. Look at the final score.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
Look at the final score. Yards don't mean anything. Look at the final score.
They do. Yards are an indicator of how the game was.
No.
Who controls the game?
You know what's an indicator of how the game was? The final score.
Don't care about the final score. The only thing I care about is the box score. And Miami dominated the time possession. They ran way more plays. A&M's in trouble. Big game this week. Arkansas has no defense, so maybe A&M could get their offense going. But, Miami, this was, if they won this game, they'd be way ahead of schedule. I thought the game plan was dumb, but they weren't expected to win the game anyway. So, and they got plenty of time to figure things out. I mean, the ACC is not great this year. So, looking at their hardest game at Clemson and then Pitt the last 2 games of the year. Florida State might be interesting, but besides that, nothing much. So I think if this game is played a few months from now, Miami wins. But it was played last week, so that's not what happened. And BYU. Yeah, obviously coming off a high of winning against a good Baylor team, going on the road. It was a tough scheduling dynamic, and Oregon just dominated the game. So I think, I think Oregon's a decent team. They're probably the 3rd best team in the North, even though divisions don't really matter anymore. But I put Oregon State ahead of them, and I put Washington ahead of them. But they're still a top 25 level team. So yeah, all right. Do you guys take anything out of a couple close wins? Florida barely beats USF, really could have lost that game, and then Arkansas comes from 10 down in the 4th quarter to beat Bobby Petrino and the running Missouri State Bears. Reactions from these 2 games?
I don't think much out of either of them. I think Arkansas runs the risk of having these games every once in a while, the way their style of football is. They needed that comeback. They could not have lost to Bobby Petrino with the students up in the stands wearing the neck braces and stuff. That would have been bad. And I think Florida for Florida, it's not really about this year. I think it's about, obviously they should win 7, 8, 9 games this year because they're Florida. And that's what they should always do at the very least. But I think it's more about the recruiting class that what's his face is bringing in there next year and the year after that, and kind of building this program back up to where they should be, competing with Georgia every year. I mean, that's if you're Florida, that's the game that should matter every year. That should be the game that the winner of the Florida Georgia game should be the one winning that division, and that's what Florida needs to get back to.
So I'm gonna just apply this to my narrative here. Arkansas, I don't really take anything out of that game. As for Florida, this is not a good football team. The Utah game was a fluke. I said it after last week's loss to Kentucky.
You can't take much out of the first week of those games in the first week of the year.
Exactly.
You never know what's going to happen.
Anthony Richardson is the single most overrated player in the entire country. He is not a good quarterback. And Florida's going to get run off the field this weekend.
What about Joe Milton?
Well, yeah.
We'll see this weekend.
Clay Travis
Joe Milton will be starting.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be right in the game there.
Did you see that?
What?
The thing that Clay Travis tweeted?
No.
It was a play where Joe Milton just flicked the ball 80 yards for a touchdown. And he's like, Joe Milton's only a junior. He's going to be back next year, and he's going to be leading the Volunteers.
Oh, my God.
He's going to be back for the next 4 years because he's not going to the pros. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't take anything out of the Arkansas State game. Not the Arkansas State game, the Arkansas game. Because you look at the scheduling dynamic that Arkansas has. They come off a big win against, second week of the year. Any SEC game is a big game, even though South Carolina is probably not going to be good, but that's still a big game. And then the next week they got Texas A&M and Dallas. So this was kind of a trap game in that sort of sense, a game that they could easily overlook, and that's what happened. But the one thing that is concerning with Arkansas is their defense is terrible, especially their secondary. Their secondary is a joke. this Missouri State quarterback threw for almost 400 yards. And now statistically, Arkansas is the worst pass defense in the country. Now they played besides Missouri State, they played two good passing teams. Cincinnati's a good team, but they could have easily lost that game. Yeah, it's a little bit worrying if you're Arkansas. Maybe not this week because A&M can't throw, but maybe this week. But down the pike, they host Alabama next week. That's going to be a big game. If Arkansas can win this week, that'll be a big game. Probably the biggest game in Reynolds Razorback Stadium history. Is that going out in the limb too much? I don't know. Maybe Arkansas has never been that great, so that'll be interesting. But Florida, I just think Richardson's hurt. Chris, I think he's hurt.
Oh, I think he sucks.
There are rumblings out of the Florida camp that he's hurt.
They need to bring back Emory Jones.
Yeah, well, Emory Jones is doing great things at Arizona State.
That's right. That's true.
Yeah, Florida right now, it's not looking good for their trip down to Tennessee. But yeah, USF's improved, a little bit improved this year. So, and Gary Bohannon's a really good quarterback. So he only threw 2 picks. But all right, pick a game from last week.
I just want to talk about the Syracuse Orange a little bit. Big win over Purdue. I think that was a surprise win. I think it's a win that's going to look good because I think Purdue is a good football team, and they're 1-0 in the ACC with that big win over Louisville, who I don't think Louisville's very good.
They're beating Virginia right now.
Yeah, they're up 10-0. They're going to go 2-0 and be 4-0. They have Wagner next week. They'll be 5-0. They're going to be 5-0 headed to NC
Please
State.
tell me they play
get Notre Dame. No, they go to Clemson. They go to Clemson. But they get Notre Dame at home. They get Florida State at home. I mean, this could be a team that wins.
What team is this?
Syracuse. They could win 8 games. They could win 9 games. Next thing you know, they're in the ACC championship. I think that. I swear to God, you think I'm crazy, but they've looked really good this year. Dino Babers is going firing on all cylinders, and they got a very favorable schedule.
I think they're in the wrong division to be in the ACC championship.
No, I'm telling you,
they're going to beat out Clemson and NC State.
And Wake Forest, maybe
Florida State.
Yeah, I'm just saying they could win 8 to 9 games. Don't be surprised.
The ACC, the contrast of the coastal to the is almost
the Big Ten podcast can't really talk about that.
No, that's what I'm saying. I said it's almost as bad as the Big Ten East, Big Ten West, or the SEC East, the SEC West. That's pretty bad too.
Nah,
Georgia being in the East.
Well, Tennessee is good.
Every team in the West besides Auburn is a top 25 level team. So,
LSU.
No, LSU is a top 25 level team talent wise.
And you know who else is not a top 25 level team? I know Luke surprisingly didn't pick up on this game this week. But I'm going to go to the Mississippi State LSU game. I don't know what happened here to Mississippi State. Mississippi State's high-powered
top 25 team on the road and lost. I don't see any problem with that.
I didn't realize they were playing. I thought they had a bye week.
Oh yeah. This high-powered offense that Luke was talking about only scored 16 points on an LSU team that just lost to Florida State a couple weeks ago. So Will Rogers was pretty bad in this game.
No, he played pretty well. They didn't throw the ball enough was the problem.
He had a 41 QBR. That's slightly better than Spencer Petras this week. Pretty embarrassing loss for Mississippi State. And they can't afford another loss or else they're going to be out of the playoffs.
A night game at Death Valley. I don't care what LSU is. And they are LSU. This year's LSU is better than the last 2 years combined. Give me a break.
Listen, Mike, I'm not criticizing them for Mike. I'm not criticizing them for losing. I'm criticizing Luke for saying they're going 12-0 and winning the national championship.
They're going 11-1.
Oh yeah.
How about this schedule for Mississippi State to end the year? Texas A&M, Auburn,
Win.
at Kentucky, at
Win.
Alabama,
Win.
Georgia, and then at
Win.
Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to win out. We'll
They
see.
can beat Georgia.
All
They
right,
get
that's all I have.
Georgia at home.
Yep. The cowbells ringing. You never know.
That's all I have.
Mike Leach takes down Kirby Smart.
And Mississippi been in back-to-back weeks.
Oh boy. My game.
They're ready for this 4-week schedule. A&M, Arkansas, Kentucky, Alabama. I mean, they're gonna win those 4 in a row, and they're gonna go to number 1.
All right, I am ready to say it. Lance Leipold is the best coach in college football. What he's done with the Kansas Jayhawks is nothing short of unbelievable.
I hope they go 3-9.
I don't care if they go 3-9. Them starting 3-0 it's already the second best season in Kansas history, behind 2007.
Yeah, 2008 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever year that was, with Mark Mangino. Mangino's been tweeting a lot lately about it. That's good to see. But Jalen Daniels
still alive and not dead of a heart attack.
Chris said Jaden Daniels is going to win the Heisman. I think he got the wrong Daniels. I think Jalen Daniels, he's in the Heisman running. He threw 3 more touchdowns last week. And Kansas is on a roll, man. I mean, this would be if Kansas makes a bowl this year, this would be one of the greatest turnarounds in college football history. Just because you look at the talent that he inherited, there was just none. He basically took his entire Buffalo team with him last year because of how bad Kansas's roster was, and he's rebuilt it again with the transfer portal. He's brought in some guys, and he's developed well. He's a 6-time national champion at Wisconsin Whitewater, and he's
that's a Mickey Mouse school.
I'm confident. All right. Speaking of coaches losing their jobs or moving, the coach's hot seat. Luke, do you want to get that out? We got a few. Obviously, Herm is done.
Herm's gone. David Shaw, number 2 on the hot seat. He's the highest Power 5 coach. Jim Bowes dropped from number 1 to number 7. Scott Satterfield's up there in the top 10 now. Brian Harsin, surprisingly only a number 13. I think with a loss to Missouri this week, he's done.
He's already done.
I just think I don't know why they hired him in the first place if they weren't going to give him any backing.
It was the boosters that gave him no help at all. The boosters hated him from day one. He never had a chance.
I think he's a good coach. I think wherever he ends up after Auburn is gonna be lucky to have him. Really,
I wouldn't. If I'm a coach, I would never take the Auburn job. That is just not only is it a ridiculously tough job, but the boosters try to be in charge of everything. Sort of like Texas, but they don't recruit like Texas.
And the expectations are so high. They fired Gus Malzahn for no reason.
Well, they fired him because he won teams a year. He's only winning 8 or 9.
Marcus Freeman officially on the hot seat. I mean, but here's the key stat with Marcus Freeman is he's 1-0 as a Catholic. He's 1-0 as a Catholic. And the other guy who's made his first appearance on the hot seat this week, Chris, is you'll be glad to hear it, is Jeff Hafley.
Good.
He should be fired.
So
yeah.
Well, he's trying to get out of there anyway. But,
yeah, because the best thing you can do as a coach is to suck to try and get out of somewhere.
BC.
So yeah, who's the other guy? Who's the big guy other than Harsin you mentioned, Mike, that was going to be on the hot seat?
Oh yeah, Jeff Collins is done.
Yeah, Jeff Collins is done. He's on the hot seat. He's number 6.
He's Georgia Tech's gonna hire Deion Sanders. You see, that's their number 1 guy they're looking at.
Sure, he's dying to take the job.
I would be shocked if he would. He's got some ties there. Oh, Mike, also Carl Durrell on the hot seat, number 3.
Yeah, I think they're gonna fire him after next year. I don't think they're gonna pay his buyout. Colorado has no money.
Well, did you see what their AD came out and said?
What?
He basically came out and said that he's like, I know Coach Durrell's better than this and our players are better than this, but this is my first year, so don't blame me. So he's clearly got a lot of support.
I confidently say Carl Durrell is the worst coach of college football. I can confidently say
No,
that.
he's not. It's because Mel Tucker left the program in the dust.
Give me a break. They went 5-3 with Mel's players.
That was a COVID year.
Okay.
It doesn't
Doesn't
not
matter.
count. As much as you want to count that year, just because
You counted that year. Give me a fucking break. How many times did you throw that at my face? Oh, Mike Colorado's better without him. They were.
No.
Give me a fucking
Listen,
break.
the COVID year does not count. It does not count.
No, it does count because
you want to
have
count
said
that year
to me
because
100
Michigan
times.
State had a couple good wins. It does not count.
We went 2-5.
Yeah, well, we beat 2 top 15 teams,
Yeah.
both of whom
Well,
sucked.
Right, Chris, what you have to realize is the COVID year only counts if it fits my narrative.
Yeah.
Listen, here's where the COVID year counts. It counts in games that I care about. It doesn't count in games that I don't care about. Like, you think I care about the fact that Indiana shut us out, or the fact that Iowa put up 56 on us and Spencer Petras looked like Joe Montana? No, I don't care about that. I don't.
Or the fact that you lost to Rutgers.
Yeah, 7 turnovers. I don't care about that. I'm convinced that Mel did that on purpose so that Michigan wouldn't take us seriously, and it worked. But yeah, well, what were we talking about? The coach's hot seat. A name to look out for is Drinkwitz. If they don't make a bowl,
Oh, he's done. He sucks.
I don't know if he's done, but because he's bringing in a good recruiting class. So that's the thing that can save a coach is a good recruiting class. Missouri just can't fall off a cliff. If they go, I want to say if they can make a bowl, I don't think they can. Looking at their schedule, they could beat Auburn this week, but besides that, nothing much left. I mean, yeah, him. Same sort of thing with Satterfield. Not a good start to the year, but he's bringing in a good recruiting class. Now, that's probably because Louisville is dropping the bag on all these recruits, but so maybe they feel like they can get those with any coach. So maybe he is.
Louisville in every single sport, Louisville recruits clean. History has shown that.
Yeah. And they definitely do not use strippers to get guys. All right. Let's go. Who is your double-digit underdog of the week?
Well, I was very close, and I wouldn't be shocked if Chris takes this game, but I was very close to taking Stanford plus 13.5. I'm going to go with Louisiana Tech plus 13 against South Alabama.
I'm going to take Boston College plus 17.5 against Florida State.
Hold on, let me write this down. What is it? Louisiana Tech plus what?
13.
You're picking BC.
BC. I don't think Florida State's that good.
BC plus what? 17?
17.5.
17.5.
That's so bad. They're 17.5 point underdogs.
The game I was looking at earlier this week was Oregon State opened up as a 13-point underdog, and obviously that's up to 6. It's one of the most bet. It's actually there are more bets on this game.
It's the most.
Any NFL game this week.
It's the most reverse line movement I've ever seen in my entire life.
Doesn't that concern you? That makes me feel like Oregon State's just going to get blown out. The fact
they're going to win.
Everybody loves them.
No, all the bets are coming in on USC.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
It started at 12.5. 78% of the public bet is on USC, and it's come all the way down to 6.
Because one person betting Oregon State over and over and over again until he gets to a point where he doesn't feel like he has value anymore.
It's moving the other way, though. It's reverse.
Yeah, that's how it works.
No, it's not.
if all the public is voting one way, that means one person or a couple of odd sharks are voting the other way to get the line down.
The Vegas likes Oregon State in this game.
Yes,
yes,
the odd
there's-
sharks, the
there's-
odd sharks like Oregon State, obviously.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
so
I'm trying.
they're
That's all I'm
betting-
trying to say.
They're bringing their big money and betting it on Oregon State, even though all the public's bet on USC.
Yes, yes. The public is betting USC and odd sharks are betting Oregon State. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Everyone's saying the same thing.
Yes. Yeah, there are a lot of games that I love, to be honest.
Jonathan Smith's got to be up for one of these big time jobs here soon.
Yeah, I saw something ridiculous. Someone had Jonathan Smith. I think it was Arizona State. Why the hell would he take Arizona? I understand it's an upgrade, but is it that big?
No, he wouldn't take the Arizona State.
He wouldn't take any job in the Pac-12.
Maybe he'll go to Nebraska.
I don't think he'll go to Nebraska. I don't think they'll offer him the job. That's a job he'd leave for.
I'm going to go completely off momentum on this one. I know I said this team sucks, but there are not a lot of games that I really like the underdog too much. I'm going to go Indiana.
Oh,
Plus
I thought you were
16
going to take Arizona State.
No, no, I'm going to take Indiana. I think here's the thing. I think, they're 3-0, and this could be one of those things where, they show something and then they get a little bit, they're all hyped up that they're 3-0 and the revenge factor from last year. I don't feel confident about it, but I'm actually decently confident that Indiana will cover because I think Cincinnati's getting a little too much there. I think Indiana's still got a lot of confidence, and they've shown that they can win close games. So if this thing is close in the fourth quarter, then Indiana will find a way to win. So,
You didn't like UConn plus 38.5?
well, to be honest with you, I might need one of those type of games to get back in this thing. I was looking at Kent State plus 45 against Georgia. But yeah, no. Most of the spreads are below 10, and then the spreads that are above 10, I just hate. I hate every single one.
Well, the spreads that are above 10 are like 20. There aren't many that are between 10 and 15.
The other one I was looking at was Kansas State, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. So, all right, let's.
You didn't want the Vanderbilt? Weren't they like 30-point underdogs?
40.5.
40.5. Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's go to the picks. Maryland at Michigan.
I'm going to take Michigan.
Michigan.
Well, Luke not sticking by his statements from earlier.
Well, I can't jinx it.
Chris, is it still going to rain tomorrow?
No.
That's what I thought. I think Maryland's going to sling it around the yard. I think they're going to go. They're going to throw for a bunch of touchdowns, and I think half of them will go to the other team. Michigan's going to win by 50. Clemson at Wake Forest.
I'm going to take Wake Forest. This is a stupid pick by me, I know, but I just have to do it.
Oh, Clemson.
Yeah, it's just a bad matchup for Wake.
It is.
But I don't know if you've seen this stat, but Wake Forest has, I think it was 34. They have 34 fifth, sixth, or seventh year seniors on their team. 34. But I feel like Clemson, the way that you beat experienced teams is with talent, and Clemson has talent, so they'll win.
Here's Clemson's going to have an interesting dilemma coming up here because who's that freshman they like or their backup quarterback?
Klubnik.
Yeah, Klubnik, because Ugalele is not going pro next year, so he's going to be back for another year or two at least.
Klubnik's your quarterback now.
Oh, I agree with you, but I mean, when do you make that move? Like, are you just waiting for Ugalele to have a bad game, or do you wait till the off season? Because if Ugalele is the start next year, Klubnik's transferring.
Luke, it's similar to the Michigan situation. We all know it should have been JJ's job last year, but Harbaugh wasn't
It's true.
didn't do it. He didn't give it to him. Obviously, Klubnik wasn't there last year, but same sort of thing because
Are you saying
last year, just like
are you
Cade was
saying
last year,
Yeah.
Dabo's going to make a
same thing this year, and Harbaugh pulled the plug.
Dabo's going to make some intricate story to make sure Klubnik's the starter next year. I mean, he's already got it set up. Look at his 2023 non-conference: Wofford and FAU. I mean, sounds just like Michigan this year.
Yeah, okay. Baylor at Iowa State.
Iowa State. Baylor's going to win the game, but I can't pick against my guy Matt Campbell.
Iowa State. You ready for this one? Baylor opened up as a 1-point favorite. 66% of the public bet has come in on Baylor, and it's gone to Iowa State minus 2.5. Iowa State.
You do realize, Chris, I know you love this reverse line movement thing, but the best Vegas people are like 58 to 60%. So
I'm not saying it's always going to be right, but over the long term.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, this is a tough one. I think it's going to be low scoring. It's going to be a defensive game, and but you know, I showed Luke the stat, but Matt Campbell has not been good in one-score games in the last couple of years at Iowa State. And there was that one year where they went 7-5 or 6-6, and every single loss was like a one-score loss. Every single one was.
Yeah, but that's interesting. Matt Campbell and Scott Frost is that Matt Campbell wins enough games to be bowl eligible.
and that's why Nebraska can't hire Matt Campbell, because he can't win close games. I'm going to take Baylor. I got to get back into this thing. Missouri at Auburn. What a game.
Yeah, I'm going to take Auburn just because they're at home.
I agree. Auburn.
Yeah, I just think Missouri's awful, like really bad. So I'm going to go Auburn also. TCU at SMU.
I'll take SMU.
I'm going to go with TCU close. You can't lose to Maryland. That's what SMU did. So TCU.
I'm going to go TCU also. Duke at Kansas.
I'm going to take Kansas. My thing with this game, though, I don't even know how you make a line with both these teams, but I'll take Kansas.
I'll take Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas is the better team. Duke's played a couple bad teams, and they beat them. They've done what they had to do, but Kansas is not saying their wins are that impressive. I don't know how good Houston is, but West Virginia is okay. At least they're better than Virginia Tech.
Houston was ranked to start the year.
Yeah, and they should have lost to UTSA. They
Where's
lost
Dana?
to Tech.
Where's Dana Holgerson on coach's hot seat?
I don't think he's on the coach's hot seat.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kansas.
So much.
All right, Minnesota at Michigan State.
Minnesota. Actually, yeah, I'll take Minnesota.
This is a game that it seems like
Oh, here we go. Chris has been trying to tell me, Mike, Michigan State's going to win easily. And now he's going to pick Minnesota.
I'm not going to pick Minnesota. You know, I'll tell you right now, I'm picking Michigan State.
Dana
All right,
Holgerson's
good. That's what I want
70th
to
on the
do.
hot seat. He's
I'm
very
picking Michigan State, but I am a little concerned this has gone to -3 Minnesota. I don't understand that, but I just think
It's really not hard to understand. Minnesota's a better football team.
no, they're not. They're not.
Yes, they are.
Vegas is everybody is undervaluing Michigan State. Michigan State is going to win this game handily.
Yeah. Because apparently Vegas did a great job predicting injuries.
It's going to be a blowout. Michigan State is going to run them off the field.
Jesus Christ. Time for a full in-depth breakdown of this game.
All right.
No, I'm serious. Michigan State. Questions, concerns. Obviously, the pass defense is a concern. But another thing that I'm concerned with, and I think Washington didn't do a whole lot, was running the football. And obviously, Minnesota is going to do that a whole lot. And I'm very concerned with our defensive ends, especially Winmon. I mean, he's a good pass rusher, but I mean, he's a linebacker turned defensive end. He's not good against the run. And then on the other side, Petrowski is not good against the run. The loss of Jacob Panashuk last year, I think, is really undervalued. He was an undervalued football player because he was really good against the run. I'm very concerned about this run game. Really concerned because our linebackers aren't good against the run either. Halliday's good against the run. Ben Van Sumeren, he sucks. He's awful. He shouldn't be playing. But because of injuries, he's going to be playing. And he is not good against the run. He gets lost. I'd rather have Quavaris Crouch out there, who, by the way, I have no idea where he is. He might as well be dead. Probably not a great thing to say, but we could really use him right now. I think Minnesota is going to run the ball very effectively because I'm very concerned about our run defense, and our pass defense sucks too. On the other side, I think we'll be able to run the ball a little bit better than last week because I think Washington's defensive tackles are really good. Minnesota is a good, experienced defense, and they're going to make enough plays. Minnesota is going to win going away. I'm going to go 35-21. Minnesota is going to win. All right, Florida at Tennessee.
Well, you know, Steve Spurrier always said you can't spell citrus without UT. But, you know, to get to the Citrus Bowl, you have to win 8 to 9 games. So that's why I think Tennessee is going to get it done.
Luke, why did Peyton Manning come back for his senior year?
Oh, he wanted to be 3-time Citrus Bowl MVP, Mike.
Chris?
What game is this?
Florida at Tennessee. I'm down for Florida.
Tennessee is going to run them off the field. Are you ready for this? I got another one for you. Florida opened as a 7.5 point underdog. 59% of the public bet came in on Florida, and it's gone to 10.5.
Yeah, those 59% people. You can't do this with brand names though, because the brand names are always going to get a majority of the.
I don't care. I look at the lines. I'm taking Tennessee in a bloodbath. It's going to be. It is going to be.
Line move doesn't mean anything.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. Because the brand names, the people are always going to bet the brand names. You can't do it with brand name
Okay,
teams.
well, if Vegas liked Florida, they would have brought the line down, not moved it up.
That's not Jesus Christ. Everybody's going to be the percentage-wise of the vote. The smaller bettors are the fans, and they're going to be taking Florida, but the odd sharks are going to be taking the team that they feel like is better.
Tennessee. I don't know what we're arguing about here. We're saying the same things.
I'm telling you that your thing of doing reverse line movement doesn't work when there's a big brand name in it, because the big brand name is always going to get a majority of the bets every time. Just like USC got the majority of the bet. I think
it doesn't change if there's reverse line movement. It doesn't change anything.
What are you talking about?
If Vegas liked Florida in this game, the line would have moved like from 7.5 to like 6, and I wouldn't have said anything.
If Vegas liked Florida?
Yes, if the odd sharks like Florida in this game, and 59% of the public bet was on Florida, then the line would have moved down, not up.
No shit. I'm telling you, your reverse line movement thing doesn't work again with big brands.
Yes, it does. Doesn't change anything.
No, Florida's going to be getting more percentage of the bets. People are going to be betting Florida more. And then, so it doesn't work.
So why is the line moving the other way?
Because the odd sharks take the better team.
That's because that's reverse line movement.
Luke, you need to get in here. This is ridiculous.
That's reverse line movement.
You can't do reverse line movement with
yes,
big
you can. It's the same thing.
No, it's
This is
not.
what I'll say about Chris's reverse line movement. I think he's relying a little bit too much on it.
I'm relying on it to give me long-term success in these picks.
Okay, Chris.
Thanks,
Let's
Ted.
let's do an example here. Alabama plays, let's say Auburn. Alabama plays Auburn. They open up as a 20-point favorite. Okay.
All right.
90% of the vote is going to be on Alabama automatically. Automatically. Everybody's going to be voting Alabama because all the fans of Alabama will take Alabama no matter what.
Okay.
Okay. So it doesn't matter what the odd sharks do. It doesn't matter if the odd sharks go the other
Mike.
way. It's going to be a
Mike.
reverse line movement, but it doesn't matter.
Mike, what are you talking about?
Jesus Christ. Is
That
how
doesn't make
hard
any
you to
sense.
understand.
If
There's going to be reverse line movement on these games
no, it's
every
not.
time.
No, it's not. It's gonna go the other way. It should be going the other way. If all the bets coming in on Alabama minus 20, it should go up. It should go to
No,
21.
all the bets on Alabama, 75% of the bets are on Alabama, but most of those bets are going to be fans. So there are going to be smaller bets. So smaller bets don't change the line. What changes the line is an influx of money on one side.
It's the
That's what changes the money.
Mike, the thing I'm reading you, I'm not reading you the number of bets. I'm reading you the money bet.
Oh, I thought you meant the number of bets.
It's
It
the
doesn't
public
make-
bet percentage.
Yeah, the percentage of bets.
No.
What is it? Bullshit.
It is.
Give me a break.
All right, let me get you a clear answer, but I'm picking Tennessee.
Is it 62% of bets? Like 62 out of 100 bets are on one team, or is it 62% of the money?
There's no way it can be money.
I'm finding the
because
answer
it's
for you
not
right
money,
now, but I'm
because
picking
Vegas
Tennessee.
tries to get
You wanna
money on
move
both
forward.
sides. That doesn't
It
even
can't be
make sense.
62% of the money. That wouldn't even unless they have bets that aren't public. All right, next game. Are you gonna pick it, Mike?
Hold on, I'm gonna look and see.
I'm looking it up right now. You pick the game.
Public bet: 59% of the bet is on Florida. Okay, which it was always going to be. There's always going to be a higher percentage of the bet on Florida. The line always moves because of where the higher money is every time. All right.
And
fine,
there's
next
more
game.
money on Florida.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't. There's more money on Tennessee.
No, there's not. There's not more money on Tennessee.
Yes, there is. Then
There's
why would the
not.
line move? Why would Vegas move the line up if there are
Because
more
it's a
money,
reverse
if there's
line
more
movement.
money on Florida? You don't understand how it works.
You don't understand how it works.
If it opens
Vegas
at
is
7.5,
begging.
they're not going to put it up to
They
8.5.
are begging. They're begging people to take Florida.
No, Vegas wants
That's not how it works.
50. Vegas wants 50% of the more teams because they have the juice in there, so they win either way.
Yes, they have every line is juiced towards Vegas, so they try to get 50% on both sides.
So you're just saying reverse line move.
How do you think they get 50% on both sides? They move the line up and down. That's how they get 50%.
You're just
if
saying
they
reverse
if
line
they
move
started
doesn't
at
exist.
Huh?
You're just saying it doesn't exist.
No, I think it can't. I think it does exist, but you have to take it with a grain of salt with a big brand name because every single game, Florida is going to be getting more bets. They're going to be getting a higher percentage of the bets every game. So it doesn't really work. If you're talking about Miami of Ohio versus Kent State and you have reverse line movement, then maybe you can look at that because the people voting on that are not fans.
Listen, I disagree. I disagree with your opinion.
Okay.
We have
Fine.
a difference of agreement. We have difference of opinion.
You're just wrong, but okay.
No, I'm not wrong. There's reverse line movement. Vegas loves Tennessee in this game. Am I wrong that Vegas loves Tennessee in this game?
Vegas can't bet. Vegas cannot bet.
Am I wrong that the odd sharks like Tennessee in this game?
The odd sharks like Tennessee, yes, because the line moved towards Tennessee.
Okay, so yes,
Yes.
I am then correct. The odd sharks like Tennessee. It doesn't
But
matter.
why don't you just go with the odd sharks? Why do you reverse
I
line
am
move?
picking Tennessee.
But But the odd sharks are every game. If there wasn't reverse line movement, and let's say 59% was on Tennessee and 41% was on Florida, and it still went to 10.5, you wouldn't say it's reverse line movement, but the odd sharks still took Tennessee.
And I'd
So
still take Tennessee.
matter. So why isn't your model? Oh, I'll just do what the odd sharks do.
That's pretty much what I do. That's pretty much what I've been
It's
doing.
not what you do. You look for reverse line movement.
I do, but if it's
And
not
that's
there,
the only games you look for, apparently.
if it's not there, then I'm gonna take who the odd sharks like.
Every single game has odd shark money on it. Every single game. Okay.
But I can sniff it out when there's reverse line movement.
That doesn't mean anything in these big brand games.
Yes, it does. I disagree. We disagree. But here's the thing. Our understanding of reverse line movement and how it works has no effect on the fact that the odd sharks like Tennessee in this game. It has no effect on that.
I agree.
This is a pointless argument.
I'm just saying it doesn't mean anything. The reverse line movement doesn't mean anything in this game.
That's not true. I disagree.
All right, fine.
We are going to disagree, and it affects nothing. The odd sharks like Tennessee.
You just don't understand how Vegas works.
You don't understand how this works.
All right, next
You're
game.
denying reverse line movement even exists.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I said it exists. I'm saying it's meaningless in this game.
You can say that for every game. You want to say
No,
Miami of Ohio against Toledo. Toledo has more fans than Miami of Ohio, so it's void.
Okay. No, that doesn't even. Oh, Mac fan bases aren't a thing.
Yep,
So it doesn't.
All
right.
So Tennessee has a
what's the
massive
next
fan
game
base.
here?
So I don't know. Tennessee has a huge fan base. So
Texas at
this
Texas.
argument is ridiculous.
Okay.
I'll take
Florida has
Texas.
a much bigger fan base than Tennessee.
It's not that much bigger.
Yeah, it's way bigger.
No, it's not.
Chris?
I'm taking Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas. Notre Dame at North Carolina.
Marcus Freeman is 1-0 as a Catholic, but I'm going to take North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Mike, you should have to do this in your Lou Holtz impression.
No. I'm gonna go with North Carolina also. Indiana at Cincinnati.
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 Indiana. Doubling down. Oregon at Washington State.
Hell, we're not going to pick James Madison, Appalachian State.
Yeah, I was looking at that game.
That might be the game of the week. I'll take Oregon. I don't think Washington State's very good.
Oregon, but it's going to be very close.
Chris, was there reverse line movement on this game?
No. There wasn't, actually.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah, you can look at it. The line went up to 6.5 because 57% of the bet was on Oregon.
Yeah, 57% of the bet was always going to be in Oregon because they have a bigger fan base than Washington State. So
it doesn't matter.
It does.
It doesn't.
I'm taking Oregon. Arizona at Cal.
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 Two coaches who are on the hot seat.
I'm taking Arizona. They beat a good North Dakota State team last week, and I think North Dakota State's better than Cal. They're going to beat Cal. All right, Arkansas against Texas A&M at Jerry World.
Arkansas.
Arkansas close.
I'm taking Texas A&M. I don't trust Arkansas's defense. Iowa at Rutgers.
Iowa.
Iowa.
I'm going Iowa 6, Rutgers 1. Not only are these the two worst offenses I think I've ever seen, but it's not even close. Rutgers' offense is, and maybe.
Right, here we go. I have an answer for your ridiculousness. And
Okay.
finish your thought first on Iowa. No, go ahead.
No, I'm done. You can go.
Let me reference the USC game here. So
Yep.
you would say that you can't trust reverse line move in this game, correct? Because USC has a massive fan base and they're going to get all the bets.
They're going to get a lot of the bets, yes. Just off fans. Yes.
USC has received 78% of the money on this game.
That's wrong. It's not money.
That's not. No, I am on the site right now. They have received 78% of the money and 91% of the bets. And on the CBS Sports app, it says 78% for public bet. So that is the money amount on the CBS Sports app. So you can suck it.
That's not. You're obviously reading it wrong.
I'm not reading it. I'll send you a screenshot of it right now.
It's 50% on both sides. That's what they try to do.
It is not. I'm
Yeah,
saying,
but that's
I'm
not
saying
perfect.
this right
though.
now.
They
To the
can't
chat.
move the lines fast enough.
Are you trying to argue that the line came out at 13.5 USC? More people bet USC minus 13.5, and they brought the line down. Is that what you're telling me?
Yep. Because Vegas and the odd sharks are
You
begging.
don't know how it works. You don't
I
know
just
how.
sent you. Look at the screenshot. Look at the screenshot I just sent you.
Vegas isn't in that business.
Mike,
They're in the business of getting
Michael,
50% of the
Michael,
votes.
open up your
50%
phone.
of the-
Open up your phone. Go to your Snapchat and look at the screenshot I just sent you.
Yeah, but Chris, here's the thing. If they wanted people, you're telling me they want people to bet on USC?
Yes.
What people are already betting on USC, so why would they give them?
keep betting on USC because they're going to lose all their money?
Chris, they're talking about when the line's at 5.5. Give me a break.
No.
Seriously.
No. That is not what they're talking about. For the entirety, for this whole thing.
Why would they bring the line down? Why
Because it's reverse
would they
line
bring the
movement.
line down?
What do you understand? It's reverse
Why would
line
they want
movement.
90% of the money on one team? It
Because
doesn't even make sense.
USC is going to lose, or they're not going to cover.
Vegas isn't in that business. They're not in the business of predicting wins and losses.
They're not going to cover. They know they're not going to cover.
Why the fuck would Vegas bring the line down, you fucking moron?
They know they're not going to cover. It says it right here. 78% of the money. It says the same thing. It says the same. It says the same
They
thing.
don't hire people to predict wins and losses. They hire
not
people
wins and
to
losses.
50% of the money on each
Wins
side of
and
the line.
It's not wins and losses.
Yeah, but we don't know the amount of money
Sorry,
that these
spread. It doesn't matter.
we don't know the amount of money that these big guys are putting on it that I'm sure don't go public.
I don't know anything about public or non-public. All I know is what I just showed you, and the CBS app shows.
I'm telling you, they're not going to put that much money on one side.
Yep, they are.
They're not going to do it.
That they're so confident.
Give me a break. You can't even say that with a straight face.
I actually can because I just showed you what it said.
All right, what's the next game? Let's get this moving.
All right, Wisconsin at Ohio.
The number matches 78%. It says it right there.
That's percentage of the bets.
It's not. It says 78% of the money. It literally says it.
Public bet right there. Public bet.
Mike,
78% of the bets.
At it. Go look at the thing I just sent you.
Percentage of the public bets.
78% of the money.
Percentage
Go
of the
look
public
at it.
bets.
Go look at the thing I just sent you.
No, there are non-public bets.
78% of the
And like
money
Luke said,
and 91% of the
Like
bet.
Luke said, maybe most of the money is private.
Oh, now it's going private.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They aren't gonna juice one side like that. It's
Yep.
not gonna. That's
They
not
are.
how it works. Jesus Christ! All right, Wisconsin. Did we do this one? Wisconsin, Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Ohio State. Miami, Ohio at Northwestern.
Jesus Christ, that's a good question. Northwestern.
Northwestern.
Miami of Ohio. I'm done with Northwestern. They are a joke. Pat Fitzgerald should be on the hot seat. This is a joke. Northwestern is by far the worst team in the Big Ten. Okay, maybe Rutgers has a
After Sherrill is on the hot seat. He's number 9.
All right. Kansas State or Oklahoma?
Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's really good.
I'll take Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm going Oklahoma also. Boston College at Florida State.
I'm gonna go with Free Shoes University, Mike, FSU.
I'm doubling down. I'll take Boston College.
Yeah, I'm taking Florida State. USC at Oregon State.
USC.
Oregon State.
I'm torn. USC can't stop the run, but I think they're just too much talent for Oregon State. I'm taking USC. All right, Stanford at Washington. I don't know why I put this game on here.
Washington. No, this is going to be a decent game, I think.
Stanford at Washington.
Washington's 13.5-point favorites.
Washington. Close.
But I don't know if there's any reverse line movement.
Washington 55, Stanford 12-0. And finally, the best game of the week, Western Michigan at San Jose State.
San Jose State.
San Jose State.
San Jose State. That'll do it. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
Chris doesn't understand that there's public and private bets. That's okay.
I'm just telling you the public bet. Just telling
Chris,
you.
I'll get you in touch with my uncle and he can explain the stuff.
I just tell Luke didn't want to listen to this argument again.
Well, what is it, like 2 a.m. there? So
Listen, I'm just telling you what I'm seeing from the public bet.
Okay.
It says it right here. At DraftKings, USC is just a 5.5-point favorite, and 78% of the money and 91% of the bets are on the Trojans.
yeah, public.
Okay.
You think Odd Sharks are public?
I don't know. I'm just telling you what I see. Now, I don't know if the CBS Sports app is DraftKings. It might be another.
I
don't know, but I think it's Caesars. I don't know what Caesars is. Caesars might be different. But
Vegas in the business of saying, oh, we're going to set a line here, but we think that they're going to win by this much, so we're going to juice it. That's not what Vegas does. That's just they don't operate that way.
Yep. That's why 78% of the money has come in on USC. And the line's gone the other way. So
because that's 78% of the money of the fan money is on USC, and probably 90% of the Odd Shark money is on Oregon State.
Okay. Well, all I'm showing you is the public bet.
All right. This is enough of this. All right. We will be back next week. See you then.